All right. Man, I don't know what happened over this Klavanless weekend, but I turned on the TV and on CNN, there were all these women and gay men getting super emotional. Here's a sample.
His name was Private Emmanuel Mensah, and he immigrated from Ghana, a country Donald Trump apparently thinks produces very subpar immigrants. I don't know why the president doesn't know that.
I was there when a 5-year-old boy named Monley was rescued after being buried for more than 7 days. Do you know what strength it takes to survive on rainwater buried under concrete? A 5-year-old boy buried for 7 days. Haitians slap your hand hard when they shake it. They look you in the eye. They don't blink. They stand tall, and they have dignity. It's a dignity many in this White House could learn from.
Those comments are frankly disgusting. There's other language I'd like to use, but we are on television.
Now, don't get me wrong. Some of my best friends are women and gay men. I'm even married to one of them. I'm guessing a woman. And if women and gay men get a little weepy and over-emotional from time to time, hey, it's no problem. Maybe that's just the way they are. But what's it got to do with the news? I mean, apparently, they were all choked up that the president allegedly used a dirty word to describe some countries that, let's face it, are hellholes. That gives the women and gay men at CNN the sads, because they feel people from these countries should be able to come here to America anytime they want, because their countries are hellholes. But you shouldn't say they're hellholes, because then CNN gets the sads. My question is this. Who cares if CNN has the sads? What's that to me? I mean, isn't CNN a news channel? Shouldn't they be covering important issues like the fact that 92% of foreign nationals in our prisons are illegal immigrants, and each one of those criminals had one or more victims whose life may have been ruined or even ended by them? Or that illegal immigrants take money out of our medical support systems without having put any money in? Or that they take jobs away from poor Americans? Shouldn't CNN lips be trembling and CNN eyes getting misty over their fellow countrymen who suffer at the hands of illegal immigrants? And another thing, given that CNN has gotten story after story wrong recently, whether it was saying that Donald Trump Jr. received an email from WikiLeaks on one date when it was really a different date, or saying that members of the Trump team had ties to a Russian when they didn't, or calling Jim Acosta Trump policies that are actually making our country better. So here's my suggestion. Now on CNN, and if any of their reporters, whether they're female forms, are better upon wave of into our country unvetted, then they can go off screen and try some more, or just go them anyway. Trigger warning: I'm is the Andrew Klavan Show. I feel hunky dunky. Life is the wing also. Tipsy topsy, rolling. It's so one season of the story. Friday is our last episode, so please go on and do that. I tell you, if you thought you had a Klavanless weekend in Hawaii, I worry about this because, there's all this terrible stuff happening in Montecito where I used to live. And I keep getting these messages on my phone to evacuate, get out of my house. I think, but I'm not there. So does that mean like if there's a mudslide in my house in LA, that it'll be like, everything's fine? So in Hawaii, some guy pressed the button that said there was a nuclear launch. And I guess since they're so close to North Korea, that wasn't funny. And for about 30 minutes, people were hiding their children in sewers. I mean, I shouldn't laugh. It's terrible. But at the same time, they didn't fire the guy who pressed the button. They just reassigned him because they said, hey, anyone can make a mistake. But I mean, if it's a button that says there's a nuclear war coming, shouldn't it be like a big red button, like with a glass dome over it, and you have to put a key in and then press a button and then it scans your eye, and then finally the thing opens up and you can press it. It's just like a button that's sitting there. Oops, I meant to press the one that opens the door to the bathroom, but I set off a nuclear explosion. It's just insane. So that was a true Klavanless weekend in Hawaii. Speaking of watches, if you would like a nice watch like the one I've got here, you want to go to Movement, which is spelled, of course, MVMT, because how else would you spell movement? Where are all those vowels? It's like, in the ocean, there's a place where all the plastic collects. Somewhere on the internet, there's a place where all the millennial vowels have gone. But your last name took yeah, it's Klavan. But Movement, it's MVMT is Movement. And the money they save on vowels, they put into selling you excellent watches at a good price. They're very beautiful watches. If you went into a store, it might cost you $400, $500, but these Movement watches start at just $95. They figured out that by selling online, they were able to cut out the middleman and retail markup, providing the best possible price. It's got a classic mod design. You can see it. People notice it. It really is beautiful. They've already sold over 1 million watches in over 160 countries. And you can get 15% off today with free shipping and free returns by going to movement.com/Andrew. Let me spell that for you, because otherwise I don't know how you could figure this out. MVMT.com/Andrew. You can spell Andrew, put the vowels in Andrew. This watch has a clean design. I really do like it. It works really well. Now is the time to step up your watch game. Go to movement. All right, Michael Knowles is going to be with us later on. We're going to I have got to talk, even though you should subscribe, but you can get everything they have online, and take a look at this article, because I am really a polite person. Your country's a hellhole or whatever. And sometimes Donald Trump offends me with his impoliteness. But I think that weirdly, maybe even in spite of himself, he's doing God's work. And I will explain to you what I mean. The right is really bad about understanding the culture. If you watch Paul Ryan, he thinks if he stands up in front of a chart with a stick, people go, I see, when you cut taxes, then businesses get more money, there are more jobs and profits, and everybody's boat, all ships are lifted. That's not what happens. What the left does is it simply creates a web of silence through using our good manners. And because we are people with good manners, we don't like to feel that people are offended by what we say. We don't like to feel that people are hurt, their feelings are hurt. We're nice people, right? All of us, most people are nice people. They don't want to, and this entraps us when they establish what is nice, when they have the power through Hollywood, through the news media, through the Academy. They have the power to establish what the manners are, right? So Donald Trump is in a meeting. He's talking with Democrats and Republicans, and he says in an offhanded way, why do we have people coming in from all these hellholes of countries? And he doesn't use the word hellhole. On CNN, they've been repeating the curse word over and over again, even though they never did that to Obama, who also cursed behind the scenes, as all men tend to do. They curse in closed-door meetings. So Trump cursed, so the CNN is repeating this over and over again. So you know what the word is. I don't have to repeat it. Why are we letting in all these people from hellholes? Why don't we have people from Norway? Now, the thing is, we do not know this happened. Dick Durbin said it. Dick Durbin lies. Dick Durbin, and also, what kind of a weasel, a little tattletale weasel goes running to the press? The president cursed. The president cursed. So here is the press. And remember, the press is just the information arm of the Democrat Party. That's all it is. They are not journalists. They're not the First Amendment made flesh. They are the information arm of the Democrat Party. That's who there is. There's not one managing person at any network. I would almost bet all my money on it. There's not one who decides which stories go on the news who voted for Donald Trump. Not one. That means they're all Democrats. They're all on one side. And you only have to follow them to see what it is. But let's take a look at the way the media, the balanced, restrained way the media reacted to this remark made behind closed doors in a meeting. So this is, number 9.
The president is a white supremacist. We heard in Charlottesville, our president is a terrorist sympathizer, and our president is a clear and present danger to non-white people in America.
If you are working inside the White House and your goal is to try to prove that this is a rational, sane president, that this is not a president who's lost his step mentally, if this is not a president in the early stages of dementia, that can't control some of the things that he blurts out of his mouth.
Wow. Sir, they're not whole countries. For one, Donald Trump isn't their president.
And now if we take this additional, very clear racist thing, he's an evil man. You know, we don't talk about that a lot. We talk about he's insane and he's crazy and he's this. That's evil.
I mean, I'm not surprised at all, to be honest with you. A lot of this has been rooted in white supremacy and racism since the very beginning.
Because we now know that we have in the White House someone who could lead the Ku Klux Klan in the United States of America. Somebody who could be the leader of the neo-Nazi. And
so if you don't think this stuff is powerful, okay, and I frequently compare Donald Trump to Randall Patrick McMurphy, who comes into this insane asylum where the rules seem to be of benefit to all, and Nurse Ratched seems to be the mother of everybody, and she's taking care of everybody, but it really creates a mental prison. And because Randall Patrick McMurphy in the novel and in the Jack Nicholson film, because he's a loudmouth, because he's a thug, because he's not a nice guy, he breaks that mental prison. He breaks through that mental prison. And I think Donald Trump does that, whether we agree with what he said or not. But if you don't think this thing is powerful, I know I've used this example before, but it really is important because it's happening all over Europe. Between, I think it was 1997, I'm talking off the top of my head, but it's 1997 to 2013, somewhere in there, the early 2000s. At a conservative estimate, 1,400 little girls were raped by Pakistani Muslim immigrants in England in a city called Rotherham. They were raped, and they were bred to rape, and they were enslaved essentially. And they were complaining to the police, and they were complaining to the council, and everybody knew it was happening. These are little girls as young as 11 years old being raped by these monsters. And nobody wanted to say anything because nobody wanted to be called racist, because it's as much as your career is worth to be called racist. And it's also just, it's uncomfortable. It's a horrible thing to say about anybody. We've all got it. We got it. Racism is bad. So nobody wants to be tarred with that brush. Nobody wants to be called these names, right? And so that's how powerful this is. And the problem that we have is every time somebody says something that the left doesn't like, just facts, that black people commit proportionately more crime, that Muslims commit most of the terrorism in the world, that women and men are different, and maybe that's why that accounts for the disparities in their careers and their pay. Maybe women don't actually care about careers the way men care about careers. Maybe they shouldn't care about careers. Maybe they have something more important to do than a career. Anytime you say this, you're accused of some form of bigotry, and you can't say anything. And the thing is, once you get accused, you start to argue on their terms, and this is how they win, okay? This is the point that I'm trying to get to, is the minute they make the accusation, you have to say, well, it's not racist because of this. It's not racist because of that. This is more racist. That's more racist. And instead of saying, wait a minute, I reject the entire terms of the argument. In Trump's, let's pretend that he said what he said. We don't even know that he said it, but we're just, he said it. I'll pretend. Let's say he says Haiti and African countries are hellholes, and why don't we have more people from Norway? The leftist contention is that is inherently racist because the people in Haiti and African countries are black and the people in Norway are white. From the left and the right, because I don't believe in racism. I believe racism is a scam. I believe the theory of racism is wrong in and of itself, okay? No, they are saying that because the people in Norway are white, obviously is, and because the people in Haiti are black and the country is a hellhole, which it obviously is, now, there's only two possibilities here. One is matters. One is that the race you're born with, the way you look, matters. And if that is true, then we have the right to defend our race in a tribal way, to be supremacists, whether you're black or white, whatever you are, you have the right. If race is what matters about us, if race is the thing that we care about each other. And when the white supremacists, the Nazis, come out and they say, for our race, that racism is true in any, they have a perfect valid point of view. That's why they keep attacking. That's why the Nazis keep writing me and saying, parenthesis, as calling you a Jew. It's like, you know, I mean, I can't even respond because I don't use the. But that's the way but the left does it too. I like to say Haiti is a nicer country than Haiti, which it obviously is inherent. The other way of looking at it doesn't matter. This is, to me, the only, if you are a believer in the Bible, and I am a believer in the Bible, this is the only possible way to look at it. The Bible says that man is created in God's image, and it doesn't say man like male, it says man. Somebody has become what they've made of themselves, not what the world is. Insulting the image of God. Good luck to you. Just don't stand too close to me, because when the lightning hits, I want to be in the next. Okay, that's fine. But that is where I stand. Is that, look, one generation talking, right? When I perfectly white people like in age, I can safely say that the ideas were better than the ideas of people in Haiti governing Haiti today. I can say that because I can look at the result. When I look at Islam, I don't have to tell you about the fact that I don't have to say, of course, there are places where Islam rules, the countries are worse than other countries. You know, that they're more unequal, they're more violent, they're more impoverished. Doesn't bring the human dignity that Christianity brings. And so if we're arguing about ideas, and it's hard to do this, then what are the people who point to race trying to do? They're trying to keep from talking about ideas. Why? Why are leftists trying to talk? Is it only leftists? Well, I'll get to that. That's the next thing I want to talk about. It's only leftists who try to influence people. And this is the important thing. First, let's talk about Skillshare, because it's a new year. You probably made some resolutions. There are things you want to do, new things you want to take up. And Skillshare is a way that you can online. It's a collection of lessons, essentially, video lessons, over 18,000 classes in things like design, business, technology, all kinds of things. I looked up, I've told you, I went in to test it out. I looked up the ones about writing. I thought, this is good advice. I wish I'd had this advice when I was starting out instead of having to invent the wheel myself. And I've looked at other things like how to do a podcast when I did Another Kingdom. And I've looked at marketing because I'm a good marketing guy. And these are videos by experts in months for just 99 cents, which is, let's face it, essentially free. To sign up, go to Skillshare.com. 99, Andrew 99. And please go on and do these things with the code, because that tells them that we sent you and we need. Go to, you'll get 3 in all kinds of different skills that you can develop. It's a special New Year's offer. You can start learning today for only 99 cents at Skillshare.com/Andrew99. Let us just for a minute think about the fact that only the left shuts down ideas. No, you cannot name an important person on the right who wants to silence left-wingers. It is only they who shout racist. It's only they who Twitter is shadow banning conservatives. It ain't shadow banning liberals. Why is that? Why don't they shadow ban liberals? Only conservatives. Google is now being sued by Dennis Prager, an honest man, if ever there was one, is suing them because on YouTube they demonetize his Prager University videos that are the most rational, straightforward explanation of conservative ideas. They did it to Knowles the other day. Knowles did a video. They demonetized that. Why? Why are they doing it? Why did they have to fire James Damore when he said, hey, you know what? Women may have different sensibilities and different desires and different capabilities and may not be as good at tech or as committed to tech as men are. They had to fire him. Why? Why did they silence ideas and we don't? You know, Ben goes and gives a speech. Rioters show up. 5'9" Ben Shapiro shows up, and they show up with clubs. Charles Murray, another. I mean, these are intellectual guys of goodwill. Christina Hoffsommers. They meet violence when they go to campuses. Why? Why? It's because their ideas are wrong, and they have to keep them in place because they benefit from them. They get power, and they get money from them, so they benefit from them. They keep their ideas in place by this incredible, elaborate system of manners where it is impolite to speak the truth. It is so impolite to speak the truth that in England and other countries in Europe, they allowed little children to be raped. The police, and we know what the police are like, they hate this stuff, they hate crime, they allowed it to go on because they were so afraid of violating this system of manners. And so when Donald Trump comes along, who's a rude guy, he's a bore, he's a guy who comes out of Queens with his business, he sits around on construction sites and he talks to people in the way that he talks. When he does that, a guy like me who's kind of courtly and kind of has good manners may recoil, but that's what it sometimes takes to break the chains, the mental chains. That's what it takes to put Nurse Ratched in her place. And when I say Nurse Ratched, I mean the New York Times, I mean CNN with all those weepy little guys. What the hell are they weeping about? Why is that news to watch those guys' lips tremble? It's just to make you feel an emotion about one thing, but not about another. A little Syrian boy dies in the sand. It's heartbreaking, but it's no more heartbreaking than Planned Parenthood ripping children out of their mother's wombs and selling the body parts. That's also heartbreaking. Why aren't CNN's lips trembling about that? It is all emotional manipulation. And because Trump is kind of a bore and because he's kind of a blockhead, he is doing Jay, and I reading the biblical story of David and what a terrible guy he was. What a murdering. That's what it took to get the job done. Trump is not that. He's just job done and turn back the tide of government overreach. a minute, but first, turn on your question generators, because tomorrow, January 16th at 5 p.m., our 5th episode of Who Will Be On. Anyone can watch, and anybody can hear the wisdom that I will be. So ask the questions. So here's what you do. You subscribe to the Daily Wire. As a subscriber, you log into the website, live stream, and head over to the conversation. Start typing into the Daily Wire chat box as they come. Subscribe to get your questions answered by 100% correct, will change your life on occasion for better. This is tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. Join the conversation. Mike, just a moment, but we got to say goodbye to Facebook and YouTube. You can